thank you for joining us for this episode of That Solo Life. Oh, Jesus, seriously. Okay, pause. Thank you for joining us for this episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with Voice Matters, and my wonderful co host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hey, Karen, how are you doing today?
I am doing well, Michelle. How are you?
Doing okay, doing pretty well. We're getting into those last weeks of summer, and I don't know, it's been a little weird out there, but that's okay. We're getting through, getting it done as we PR pros do. No matter what, we get it done.
We do get it done, which can work against us sometimes.
Can. Yeah, it can. So that's why today we're going to talk about how being great at PR sometimes makes you not so good at life.
So true. So this is a fun topic today, and
Yeah,
I love this. We sometimes like to have those light moments, and we know that you all do too.
exactly.
And we have been chatting, and something I've been working on is like most PR people, I'm a big old overthinker.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Like you were saying before we came on air, it helps us be really good at what we do, right?
It really does, because we overthinking helps us to run different scenarios like no one else can. We can see all of the angles, the twists, the turns, and our overthinking helps us to be meticulous about execution. Great for PR, terrible for living your life.
I mean, it's always good to be a little troubleshooty, but yeah, sometimes, I know for me, I am guilty of it too, and I'm definitely uh, a recovering personal overthinker because you just get in your own way. At some point, you just have to make the call. And, I know, well, we both know we are not alone in this. And, the way I describe this skill or value to my clients is I quote, I forget which Billy Bragg song it is, but I'm like, I'm your little black cloud in a dress. This is my job to point things out to you.
Yes.
But, when you're just trying to live life and be a little spontaneous and it can be a drag. And honestly, it can really stump you in many ways
Yeah.
and hold you back. And I don't know. I think not to get too armchair psychologist, but I sense that some of it is fear,
For
right?
sure.
Because if it's in your personal life, your day to day, it will likely revolve around unknowns as opposed to the knowns that you know inside and out in your work, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, I just urge all of us to, first of all, real acknowledge you have the problem and, just try and relax a little more into those day-to-day decisions and see how it feels. It's gonna feel weird at first, but
Thing that you
give it
have
a shot.
to work on. I went through a lot of hard things this year, as many of
Mhm,
us have,
mhm,
and I think it pushed my overthinking into overdrive, because when you're
mhm.
in crisis mode for a prolonged period of time, you're just thinking, and you're overthinking, and it got to a point where I realized, and then, people close to me realized this too, that I had forgotten how to have fun,
Mm,
because and I wasn't really living. I was just I was doing all the things and surviving, but I wasn't really living. And so it is a great character trait, again, for PR, but it really can get in the way. And so I have actively had to back away from that. So it's kind of like, okay, for my job, I'm going to think about things, and I'm going to be meticulous about things and tend to the details. But when it comes to life, there are some things that you just overthinking will stop you from living your best life. And
yeah,
I don't want to do that anymore. So this is a fun topic to talk about, but it's
yeah.
also a personal one for me too.
Oh,
So I'm there with you. If you were in the club of, having this interfere with your real life, I get you. I see you. I understand you. And I'm telling you that it's possible to change.
Yeah, it is, and I'm right there with you, having come out of some serious caretaking years and just kind of like, "Oh, okay," and I think coupled with that is because I noticed a change in myself when I started the business because especially at the beginning, you're pouring everything you have,
Yes.
and, I had an aha moment a few even several years back when I'm holding my glass of wine at a networking event, and I'm thinking, "Oh gosh, this is my social life? Like, that's not good." That's not good. Or, you're having a coffee meeting with a business associate, and you're like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, there's nothing date-wise going on here, but I'm like, "You really should be, like, actually dating." Like, not just doing
Yes.
this. And
Yes.
and it is challenging because, while our businesses give us freedom, they also require more of us than those. I'm not saying that people who are employed, yes, you work to the bone too. However, there is a good chunk of the place that gives you employment that you don't have to worry about at all. And, it's definitely something to be conscious of. However, as time
Yeah.
goes on, not only is this an unhealthy way to be, I think, and again, this is again going against the grain of our inclination of our profession, we need to take the foot off the gas in in the hours that we have in our days and weeks. And like you say,
Yeah.
yeah, I literally have on my to-do list, make sure I have some plain old fun. And that could just be indulging in, 15 minutes of stand up on YouTube, just making sure you get something in every day that's enjoyable. Otherwise, you will burn out. And I'm sure there's some of us that are very close to it.
I see a lot of that around us, and as you said, that is a good distinction. This is not comparing like, "Oh, I work harder than you," but the reality for anybody
No.
who owns a small business like we do, we're not mega corporations, but when you own a small business, it really does become a part of you 24 hours a day. And so we have to work harder to disconnect. And I know, again, for PR people, we overthink taking time off. So you may go away,
Yes.
you may take a vacation, but you're not doing things like we see other people doing. You're not taking a sabbatical where you're just, pausing
Mhm.
completely and you overthink being away for X amount of days. We all have our limit, like, oh, well, I got this, I got that. And I don't know if I could leave this we overthink it. And we have to allow ourselves to have fun because life is not
Mhm.
going to pause until you feel like
Mm-mm.
you've hit a point of perfection or a point in your life where it's like, okay, now I can take my foot off of the gas. You have to take your foot off the gas routinely. And
Yeah.
it's hard, but it is something that we can all learn to do and lean into. And guess what?
Yeah.
Nothing bad happens.
No.
And if it does,
No, for
you'll
real.
deal with
And yeah, and, I know both of us, and I'm sure many of you listening, we've all lived long enough and experienced enough to know that if we do not take the breaks, our body or our psyche will break us
Yeah.
in big and small ways, and just as you were talking about that, right? I think back to, and again, I am a recovering take time offer. And, life has given me actually, in the bad, there's good lessons, right? And dealing with my aunt's decline and my mother's illness at the same time, it showed me, yes, you can be away from the office, away from your keyboard, and still hit your numbers every month. And you can still make it work, which has now taught me, oh, you know what? I don't have to grind every day because I can still get it done. And another thing it's kind of taught me because again, as you were saying, preparing to go away, right away, I had those old feelings of the fatigue of sometimes it's you just figure, "Ugh, it is just way too much work to work ahead. It's not worth it." But it is worth it. It really is. And it's important to keeping you refreshed and you work hard, so you deserve it. You deserve to have those times of replenishment. And I know it's easy to say, but it'll make you better on the other side. And it It really will, and, if you're like me, start small, and maybe you'll get to the point in life where you become a member of the We Do Not Care Club, and you just do it anyway.
And I think we have to get there. It's interesting
Yeah,
because a lot of this is leading to finding that place of rest, which is so important for every human being. And,
yeah,
I think about as PR people, because we're planners, we're thinkers, we're overthinkers, we get things done that that also can be a hindrance in our personal life because often we're the go-to for everything and everyone, which
mhm.
can also drain you. And so I know, like, so our audience will completely relate to almost needing to physically restrain yourself from jumping in when you see
Yes,
something wrong. Like, we want to fix everything, and that is hard. It's because it's impossible to see
yeah,
sometimes those things like, ugh, okay, let me fix that. Let me tell you what to do. I have given people marketing plans on the fly on the street, and it's just but
yeah,
I have learned to shut my mouth, drink my water, and keep it moving because I need
yes,
rest and I can't be on
yes,
all the time. And so learning to ignore problems that I'm not being paid to solve,
yes,
it takes a lot of work. I'm
it
not going
does.
to tell you that I'm 100% successful, but I have done a much better job. And with time, it gets easier to say, I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah,
I know the answer. I know
yeah,
how, but it's not my problem. And I say that to myself a lot internally, like, that's not my problem. Just ignore it. That's not my
mhm,
problem. Just ignore it. Yes,
mhm,
that's terrible. Yes, I can fix it, but it's not my problem.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again, it's that separation, and I, it that didn't come naturally to me. For some
no.
people in our profession, maybe it does. Maybe you are naturally able to turn it off after work, and if that's you, please, share with us
Yes, can you
how
tell us how
you
you
make
do
that
it?
happen, as we all are, for the rest of us who have to learn that skill set, it just doesn't come natural.
No, no, it's so true, and I think, through the years, I am also a reforming people pleaser,
Yeah.
and, I'm grateful that I just don't get the juice from it that I used to. It's not that I don't care, I, of course, take pride in doing good work. That has not changed, but that little motivation of, "Oh, look what I did for you," is like it's either been squelched or beat up and put away, I don't know, but, I think there's a lot to that is helpful. Um, and yeah, like we were saying, it's like, can I ever just join a community group and just join it halfway? Like just be a cash? And that has been a struggle. And I just know, you ask yourself, how many times do you get involved with something and you have to be the one? Like sometimes you just don't want to be the one
Yeah.
to do the things, and that is good enough. Or, how often do you have to be in these things? That I don't know if anyone can relate to that, and, we all do things for different reasons. Yes, it can also help bolster your business credibility. There I go again, bleeding the lines. But I think what I'm just trying to say is just try to do the healthiest thing for you in that season, and that is okay. Because you know what? Sometimes we just need to hear someone else give us permission, because we will never give ourselves permission, or it'll take a lot of knocks to give ourselves
Yeah.
permission, but it's totally okay, and I agree with you, Karen. If someone out there can help us do
I
this.
I mean, I think one of the things that helped me to really start to turn the corner is intentionality. And
Mm,
so when I am at work, I'm really intentional about my time and how I'm spending it. And, at the start of every day, I just take a quick moment to review and
mhm.
decide What are the things that are most important to accomplish? So then when I'm showing up for work, I'm showing up in work mode with
Yeah.
my professional self wholly and fully and doing the things. But I'm equally intentional about the time away from work.
Mm.
I'm intentional about how I use social media. I'm intentional about what's playtime and what's
Mhm.
so, I'm not phone in hand all the time and looking and checking messages,
Oh,
24 hours a day. I just
yeah.
let it go because I've learned from life experience that no matter how prepared I am, no matter how much I care about things, no matter how much I overthink, if something terrible is going to happen, it's still going to happen with or
Right.
without my permission.
True.
So I've even learned that if I'm at work and, you know, I used to overthink like, oh, well, what if a member of my family calls and something has happened? Well, me missing a call and having to return it an hour later is not going to change that bad thing. That bad thing still exists.
Right.
And so I've had to learn because I was in a really bad place
Yeah.
how to control my environment and how
Yes.
to not bleed the lines all the time because it can take a physical and mental toll on your body.
No, truth, truth. I've learned the very difficult way that, I used to have this. It was crazy. This was what the voice in my head used to say in my 20s and 30s. Well, yeah, I have time, so I should do it. Or, it's not going to kill me. I should just do it. And uh, that's that's just dumb. Younger Michelle, that was dumb, because I think growing up in a culture of, having that servant's heart, but it doesn't mean to just literally run yourself into the ground. And so we just want to encourage you all out there to be okay with just saying no. As they say, it's a complete sentence, and we should know because we're word nerds.
No is a complete sentence. And really ignoring
Mm.
problems when you're off duty. You
Yeah.
you really don't have to solve everyone's problem.
No.
You even if you have the answer, you're not required to give it.
Right.
Show up for yourself. And I mean, something that, my pastor said to me, and two little words that really hit home for me because it was something I had been thinking about is he told
Mm.
me to have fun. And I realized, yeah, I haven't been having a lot of fun lately. That's good
Same.
advice. So focusing on that has been a game changer for me. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's made me better at
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
because I am living my whole entire life and not just a portion of it. So
Mm.
PR people for those characteristics that make us great at our jobs, remember that they should have an off button
Mm.
so that you don't cheat yourself out of living a full and rich and complete life.
Yeah. In fact, as you said that, I picture that we, maybe picture it as though our PR skills are actually tools we use with our hands. And at the end of the day, you put the tools away, you lock up your locker, and you go home, even if home is the next room. So I know we're encouraging each other to keep this up. And we also encourage you. And honestly, if this has been your path or you're realizing this, we definitely want to hear from you. Hit us up at soloprpro.com. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.